And your spouse says something that you don't understand, which happens regularly with Karen. She'll say something, and rather than saying, that's stupid, I'll just say, that is so brilliant, I can't even understand it. It's on another level. If you can't find an hour a day to talk, you're too busy. And you need to find another area to cut back in, not your marriage. Say no to a friend. Say no to a Zumba class. Is that what they call it? Zumba, whatever they call it. Yoga. I shouldn't even have chosen that word. I don't know what it is. Cycling class. I don't know. Say no to something else. But don't say no to your marriage. The third type of communication is intimate communication. And intimate communication is 5 to 10 minutes a day. And that's just loving talk. Telling each other how much you love each other. Telling your spouse what you like about them, what you appreciate about them. Intimate communication, that also can include sex. But I'm saying there needs to be intimate communication. So if you take 3 to 5 days a year, proactively, an hour a day for personal communication, 5 to 10 minutes a day for intimate communication, you are going to have a healthy marriage. You have to train your children to respect your marriage. We put our kids to bed when they were little, and they didn't have to go to sleep, because you can't make kids go to sleep, short of some type of medicine or something. But we let our kids read. Brent read 80 books when he was in the 5th grade, and because they read. But we taught them, don't get out of bed, and we don't care if you're thirsty. We don't care if you have to go to the bathroom, and we don't care if there's a monster eating you. We don't care. We care about being alone. And I tell the story, it's a true story. So we taught our kids if you don't teach your children to respect your marriage, you won't have a marriage. Love your kids, take care of your kids, and teach your children to respect your marriage. And not only are you training them to respect your marriage, you're training them someday to train their children to respect their marriage. And they'll have a good marriage. But Julie, our daughter, when she was growing up, we had a lock on her door. We were in the bedroom, and she picked the lock and came in. Well, we scared her straight. I'll tell you that right now. And the beautiful thing about the Lord is her daughter did it to her a couple of years ago. It's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. Okay, number 3, an atmosphere of trust. So, tone, number 1, enough time. You have to have enough time to communicate. You can't microwave communication in marriage. Number 3, an atmosphere of trust. I will not open my heart to you if I don't trust you. Now, this is a saying that I heard one time that I like. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. You can lose the trust that you've built over 10 years in one irresponsible comment. So the thing about trust is you have to earn trust in marriage. That's the whole thing. In character, I build trust by being faithful, servant-hearted, sacrificial, and humble. You trust people who are sacrificial and humble. In connection, you build trust by being empathetic and caring and attentive. The more you know that I care, the more you will trust me in what you're saying. In conflict, you build trust by being approachable and responsible. You're easy to approach. You're not going to pay a price by telling me something, and if I did something wrong, I'll take responsibility for it. I'm not going to deflect blame or accuse you every time something happens. In confidentiality, you build trust by not sharing things outside the marriage. And men are emotionally modest. Women are physically modest. Men are emotionally modest. And so men are terrified at the concept of personal details being shared outside that relationship. And in crisis, when something bad is happening between you build trust by being loyal, faith-filled, and committed. And so there has to be trust built over a period of time. And if you have breached the trust of your spouse, you just take responsibility for it. Karen had no trust for me early in our marriage. I didn't deserve any trust. I had verbally abused her. I was not a good husband. I was not attentive. I had no empathy whatsoever for her. And the way that I rebuilt trust was by taking responsibility and just say, I'm sorry, would you forgive me? And she forgave me. And then one day at a time, I just started doing the right thing. And we rebuilt the trust. But this is the Holy of Holies. my insides. To effectively communicate, you have to communicate on a heart level. I'm not going to open the Holy of Holies to anybody who I don't trust. And so to be able to communicate properly, you have to build trust. Number 4, an atmosphere of truth. We have to be able to speak the truth. Ephesians 4:15 says, but speaking the truth in love, we may grow up in all things in him who is the head, Christ. It says speaking the truth in love. Truth without grace is mean. Grace without truth is meaningless. Truth and grace is medicine. They have to go together. Speaking the truth in love. Much of the truth that has to be spoken in marriage is not Bible truth. It's just my truth. It's just, I need to be able to tell you my truth. And when you're dealing with conflict in marriage, there's a big difference between complaining and criticizing. Let me give you an example of this. And so when you're criticizing a person, it's you. Let me just give you an example of this. I would say to Karen, let's just say, I'm criticizing Karen, and I say this, you said that to me yesterday, and I know exactly what you meant by it. You were trying to pay me back. You're trying to pay me back for what happened the day before that. You know why you did? Because you're spiteful, and that's just the kind of person you are. That's what you call criticizing. You, and when you're being criticized, it's, full shields up. But here's complaining. It's completely different. Hey, Karen, can I tell you something? Can I tell you how I feel? Sure. I don't know if this is right, but it's just the way I feel. Okay. You said that to me yesterday, and it hurt my feelings. And the way I feel, I don't know if this is true. The way I feel is you're trying to pay me back, but maybe that's not right. Okay. I'm not attacking you. I'm not telling you. See, when you come to a person and say, you said this and this is what you meant, and you did it because, you know what you're saying? The judge and jury met. You're guilty, but you can plead for leniency right now. But we're not going to have a conversation about it because you're guilty as a sheep-killing dog. How does that make you feel? That you have been judged, and the only choice you have is repent. But how does it make you feel when a person comes and says, my feelings are very real, but they may not be right. And I'm not going to let my feelings impose that reality on you. Because I feel hurt, I feel frustrated, but I don't know what you meant. So can I just tell you how I feel and you help me? And I go to Karen and say, Karen, I don't know what you meant by this, but you said this yesterday and here's how it made me feel. And Karen says, I'm so sorry, Jimmy. I didn't even realize I said that. Please, I'm sorry. Right. Or she might say, no, I meant something completely different. But when you're complaining, it makes it so easy to tell the truth. The other thing is this, grace has to precede truth for truth to be received. In other words, if you throw a bomb in the middle of the room and then come back and say, well, I love you. It's hard to receive. So in conflict, this is proven, the first 3 minutes of a conversation dictate the entire conversation. Another way to say it is this, a conversation never rises above the first 3 minutes. So if you come in attacking and accusing, the best thing to do is just stop talking, come back in an hour. But here's the way you start a conversation, okay? Especially the tense ones. I'd like to talk to you, but I want you to know I love you, and that we're going to be okay. We're on the same team. I'm so glad that I married you. I'm so proud of you, but I need to tell you something. I'm upset, and I need to tell you how I feel. Okay, that's it. Okay, but when you come and say, I've got 1-800-DIVORCE on my phone right here, and I'm about to push the button. I'm just going to see how this conversation goes. Well, how does that make you feel? And so when we're talking, when we're communicating, we need to be truthful. You have to tell the truth. If you don't speak the truth in marriage, you don't have a real marriage. But grace has to go first. Speaking the truth in love. Jesus was full, the Bible says, of grace and truth. Jesus wasn't half full of grace and half full of truth. Jesus was 100% full of truth and 100% full of grace. And the reason that we can receive the words of Jesus is because of his love. Number 5, ingredient or element of indestructible communication is the team spirit. We have to respect each other's differences. We are different by God's design. There's no such thing as finding a person just like us. It doesn't matter how compatibility in marriage is not based on sameness. Compatibility in marriage is based on shared character, shared faith, shared values, and shared goals. We're not compatible because we're the same, because we can't be the same. We're just two very different people. So earlier in our marriage, there were so many things different about Karen that I completely rejected earlier in our marriage. I liked her physically. I just thought she was weird, the rest of her. I did. You know why she was weird? She wasn't like me. I don't know if y'all have noticed, I am the epicenter of normal. I don't know if you noticed. So, money languages. I read an article, Dr. Kenneth Doyle. He's a financial psychologist, University of Minnesota. I read this article years ago about the 4 money languages. There's a driver, money means success. There's an analytic, money means security. There's an amiable, money means love. And there's an expressive, money means acceptance. Okay, so for you probably as a couple don't see money the same. So Karen is an analytic. To her, money is security. When we were dating, she worked at a bank and made $200 a month and saved a bunch of it. She's just extremely good with money, and she loves having money in the bank, savings and all that stuff. Well, I'm an expressive. I'm an amiable. To me, money is love. You know, I just like to take money and love people with it. So early in our marriage, Karen called me a spendthrift, and I called her a tightwad. We couldn't talk. Money was a radioactive issue in our marriage. And she would just say to me, Jimmy, you just spend too much money. I say, Karen, you're going to die someday, and nobody's going to like you, and you're going to have all your money in a mattress. And she said, at least I'll have a mattress. But you know something? We are Team Evans. We are Team Evans. We make great decisions together. You know why? Because we're different. If you reject each other's differences, you will not be able to communicate. If you tolerate each other's differences, you won't be able to communicate. You celebrate each other's differences. I'm so glad you're different than me. It's the old saying, if both of you are the same, one of you is unnecessary. You celebrate. And your spouse says something that you don't understand, which happens regularly with Karen. She'll say something, and rather than saying, that's stupid, I'll just say, that is so brilliant, I can't even understand it. It's on another level. She likes that. Seriously. We're a team. We don't criticize each other. We don't take advantage of each other's weaknesses. This is how marriage works. It doesn't work like this. It works like this. I love you so much, you fill in my gaps. Together. God looked at Adam and said, that's not good that man's by himself. I'm going to make a helper. An aider is the word. It means one who supplies what's lacking. I'm going to make an aider for him, completely equal to him, but complementary. So in marriage, when we talk about communication in marriage, let me go back through these one more time. Tone, the tone of our words, critically important. Enough time. We have to commit the time necessary, annually and daily, to communicate on all 3 levels. Trust. I have to be careful because I want you to be able to open your heart to me, and I want to gain your trust. Truth. We need to speak truth, but most of the truth we need to speak is our truth, and we need to do it by complaining or sharing and not accusing. And being a team, we must accept each other's differences to be able to communicate successfully.